So we're going to do a clay surface. Now, what you get from a clay surface, microscopic impurities get stuck to your paint finish that actually polishing will not remove. That's why claying is so awesome. So the claying surface removes these impurities and you get more clarity to the paint because light can go through it and bounce back. You get a incredibly smooth as silk finish and better depth and clarity. You only have to do claying to your car 2 times a year. So let's get to it. Alright, so here's the baggie test. Put your hand in a Ziploc baggie and then gently rub it on the paint surface back and forth just a little teeny bit before you do the clay surface. Then do that after you do the clay surface. I guarantee your mind will be blown. When you rub it before the clay surface, it'll feel like there's sandpaper on the surface of the paint. And then after the clay surface, it'll feel like butter smooth. And then once you're done and you've applied the sealant, take your bare fingers and run it over the surface. It will feel like silk. Alright, so here we go. We're going to wash the surface. We're just going to do the trunk lid here. We're using Clean Freak Miracle Wash. And on a black car or dark colored car, see I'm going in a forwards and backwards motions from the glass to me. This would minimize any possibility of micro-marring just from a towel or anything. This is good practice for any dark colored car on the horizontal surfaces rather than going in circular motions. Okay, so we've got the surface nice and clean. Now, when drying, same thing. You'll notice that I pull the towel from the window to me, one swipe. The less you touch the car, the less possibility of micro-marring when you're touching it with microfiber, even though microfiber is super safe. And even with the Miracle Wash, if there's a drop or two, it won't spot. So now we're spraying the clay lube on the surface. Good amount. We're spraying the clay sponge. And on a scale of 1 to 10 pressure-wise, like a 1. You're just letting it glide. You'll feel it start to tug right away in the very first strokes in an area, and that's pulling the surface impurities, and then it'll start to glide free. So to do the whole trunk panel, we're talking maybe 30 seconds to do the whole surface there. So I like to come back and do the panel twice. And we'll just come back and do it again. And you notice, since this is on a cool surface late in the day, the moisture is staying on there a really long time. That's really good. You never want to allow the clay sponge to become dry on the surface. Now, once again, drying from the glass to me on a horizontal surface just minimizes any possibilities of micro-marring. Okay, all done. Just to recap. So first you want to wash the area. We used Clean Freak Miracle Wash, and I like to wash one panel, then clay it, then move to the next panel. This just eliminates the possibility of any dust or grit getting blown up on the panel before you get around to it. Rather than washing the whole car and then starting to clay and working your way around the car, just safer. Wash it and then clay it, move to the next panel. Number 2, just right when you're ready to clay, just spray the clay sponge to get it wet, and then spray the panel. And just use a very light pressure with the clay sponge just to let it glide. Do the panel twice, and do not allow the panel to become dry. You saw how much moisture was on there while we were working it. You don't have to hose it down. Just keep the panel moist. It's best, you always want to do this on a cool to the touch panel and never in bright sunlight. And just a good tip, when you're drying dark colors, whether you're washing or whatever you're doing, on horizontal surfaces, always work front to back. So from the glass to your stomach, basically. And what this does, if there's any possibility of any micro-marring, which is really remote using microfiber products, the micro-marring will be in the direction front to back, won't reflect, so you won't see it. So rather than working in circular motions, drying things, use front to back motions on all the horizontal surfaces. That's it.